For various reasons, I had to take a break from the battle crawler. I decided to go back and work on an old project, which is a Rebels style TIE fighter. And eventually we'll paint in Sabine Wren's color scheme. And I got to a point where I decided just to get her done. So that's what you're seeing. So it started off as just a little paper mache ball. I took an inflatable soccer ball and covered it in tissue paper and brown paper with Elmer's glue. And then I went over that with drywall plaster mixed with Elmer's glue. And then sanded that down. Worked really nice. Then I just drilled out a hole and put the dowel through it. And glued the edges, and once that was done, I took out the center of the dowel. I then got these little cones, styrofoam cones from Walmart, and same thing, I just covered it in plaster. And then I took them off, and using stacks of different books and things, I marked out the lines where I wanted to cut them, as you see demonstrated. And then that made the different segments. And then I just glued them all together with spacers of foam. And then I added, that's black ribbon to make the panel lines. It conforms to the shape of the sphere better. Glued it all up. Actually used a tiny little cabinet hinge right there for the top. Now for the wings, it's a single piece of poster board that I cut into 2 wings. And then marking it off, I made these templates of the different panels. And these will be important. Well, they make it easier anyways. So really it's just 2 shapes. It's the middle one and then the 1, 2, 3, 4. They're the same shape, just flip back and forth. Take those, take an old screen. I found these screens on a job site that had some holes in them. Line it up, and the important thing is to get the screen going in the direction you want your solar panel to be going. So straight up from the middle there. Lay it down. Use a ruler, cut it off. Making sure there that your screen is lined up the proper way. I found different ways to glue it. None of them work except for this. Use a little 3-inch roller. That's just straight Gorilla Glue. Roll it out on your foam board first. Then you want a little piece of wax paper because you want to roll the back of your piece of screen too. Just enough to give it a little stick, otherwise you get bubbles. So you just roll it a little bit, it doesn't have to be crazy. You don't want to do too much too, because it'll fill the holes, which will destroy your detail. So once that's rolled out pretty good, you just set it on your foam board. And it's good if you pre-mark your panels first with pencil so you can see where the pieces go. It helps it line up later. And it sticks pretty good at this point. You don't want too much glue or it bubbles up and looks terrible.
He's doing a project thingy, I think, for his YouTube
But I
channel.
found once you get it on there, give it another roll over with the roller too, just to set it down in place and to get any bubbles or globs evened out. Just repeat this process all the way around.
Thank you.
It's a little tedious making TIE fighter wings, but if you do it all these little things. It turns out pretty good. These are all the pieces laid out how they're supposed to be. Okay, I did it out of sequence. Then glue on the panel lines. I marked it every 1 inch, mark it evenly, and then I pre-made all my little strips. That makes it go much faster. I numbered them, taped them up in bundles so I knew which was which. 1, 2, 3 is for the one panel, ABCs for the other panel, since they're all the same. I like to just take a piece of cardstock like this, cut it to the right length, and then just zip off my pieces. Streamlining everything makes a huge difference because this is real tedious. So then when you get all your pre-cut pieces, you start gluing them on. What I do is I find the length that I need. For instance, these are the width of the middle spine. And then I just mark them out. 1/2, 3/4, 1/2, 3/4, 1/2, 3/4. And opposite this way. So you use up one piece, rip them off, and they come off perfect every time. This is also a good time to mark your centers. Lay it out. Get your ruler if you want it perfect, or just eyeball it, but just doing them all at once so they're ready to go, so that when you need to line it up, it's ready. You're not remeasuring every little time. All these little things make a big difference in the end. It saves you a bunch of time because you're not searching for tools and remeasuring 18 times. It's just ready to go, and you can just bam, 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 glue them on. And it makes a big difference mentally too, because you don't get overwhelmed, because you're seeing your progress so quickly. Forgot to film this part, but I cut out these blocks out of 1/2 inch plywood for the center cap. Now you can go ahead and just make out of foam board too if you want, but it's just a smaller hexagon, and I tapered the edges in a little bit. So you glue your center peg, and then you glue your balsa wood strips. I actually made a whole bunch out of an old 2x4 on a table saw, but you can buy them. It's easier. This is cheaper. There you go. And that's basically it. You can add details, but since mine is being animated style, I'm leaving it simple. And then just do that a whole bunch more times. No need to craft up something to spend a bunch of time if you got some old beer caps and caps of some expansion foam. Pretty close to done at this point. Just need a little bit of putty in the gaps and caulking here and there. A few little poster board panels on the center caps just to cover up some of that plywood, but other than that, pretty close to done at this point. And here it is compared to a Black Series figure in just a second. And there's Sabine with a custom helmet that I built for her, because when I bought her, she didn't have one. Also built her a custom jetpack, but I don't really show it in this video. But the cockpit is well big enough for her to fit. It's smaller than the Hasbro TIE Fighter, but it's well big enough for Black Series figure. There's her sitting down, she's way in the bottom. Still need to build the chair and the controls and everything for the inside. That makes those just kind of pop in. But there you have it. And that's just the primer. Almost ready for paint job, and then Sabine's paint job on top of that. And here it is compared to my Stealth TIE Fighter that also needs to be finished. Thank you.